I do believe we have learned a lot about a couple of very talented, great, I want to emphasize this, all-time great scorers of the basketball. One of them just so happens to be an all-time great player. We'll talk about him more in a second. But as the Golden State Warriors take down the Boston Celtics in 6 games to win their 4th NBA championship in 8 seasons, I want to talk about Jayson Tatum and Steph Curry. Let's start with Tatum. Tatum did not play well in the finals. He did not play well. And it's unfortunate because Tatum had done something that you don't see done very often. But I do feel like as fans, we've been kind of teased with it a couple times as of late. And I'll explain here. A few years ago, Kawhi Leonard put the Toronto Raptors, the entire country, on his back and took them to the NBA Finals. They got a couple breaks with some injuries with the Warriors, and they won a championship. Immediately, we put Kawhi Leonard in the best player of the world conversation. Immediately. Giannis Antetokounmpo last year was able to do a similar thing and carry the Milwaukee Bucks to the NBA Finals as their best player. Chris Middleton was really good. Giannis was the catalyst of that team, though, both ends of the court. The Bucks were able to win the championship under Giannis's tutelage. We immediately said, Giannis, if not the best player, definitely one of the 2-3. He was my best player in the world. So we've seen these small forward / power forwards, whatever you want to call Giannis, we've seen these forwards on the biggest stages step up, lead their team to victory, and automatically they go from all-star to let's throw him in the best player in the world conversation. That's what we do as fans, media, whatever you want to call it. We were about to do that with Jayson Tatum. If you look at the way that he outplayed Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets in the first round, we were ready to do that. I don't think we gave enough credit to Boston Celtics first-year head coach Ime Udoka, and maybe gave Tatum a little too much credit. But nevertheless, he outplayed KD. Second round, he goes up against Giannis, and I know Giannis was missing Chris Middleton, but I expect my all-time great players, which I believe Giannis to be, I expect them to be able to get over the hump and still be able to win in the second round of the playoffs. I do. Giannis wasn't able to do that without Chris Middleton. Give Tatum credit. In Game 6, he was a man amongst boys. He was a man. Tatum and the Celtics get to the conference finals. Jimmy Butler had some very off games, but he had a really great Game 6. Like Jayson Tatum looked Jimmy Butler in the eye and said, I'm going to the finals this year. Sorry. You had your chance. And now the Celtics get to the NBA Finals. And they're taking on Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, a team that's been there many, many, many times over the last decade. And I'm looking at this like, if Jayson Tatum is able to take down Steph and the Warriors in the finals on the biggest stage of them all, he would now be in that best player in the game conversation. If you could beat KD, Giannis, and Jimmy Butler, all forwards in one postseason, we gotta put some respect on your name. But that's my fault, though. That's my fault. That ain't on Tatum. That's your fault as a fan. That's my fault. We tried to jump him too quickly because we saw Kawhi Leonard and Giannis make that quick jump. That's why they're all-time great talents in Kawhi and Giannis. Giannis is going to be an all-time great player. We tried to do that too quickly with Jayson Tatum. We tried too quickly. What we know is Jayson Tatum is an all-star, and if you want to put him next to some of his peers, okay, for now, you got to put him over some of the other guys in the league around his caliber, came in. He's over Brandon Ingram for sure. He's over guys that he came in with. You got to put him over those guys. I'd even be willing to put him over Jimmy Butler today. That's me. But you still got room to grow. So if you want to say Jayson Tatum has now entered top 10, 12-ish category, I'm there with you. But if we're doing like tiers here, he would not be in tier 1. In the tier with the Giannis's of the world, the Kevin Durant of the world, if you still got LeBron in tier 1, the Jokic's of the world, the Embiid's of the world, if you got Luka in tier 1, there's a gap between those guys and Tatum. Because Tatum didn't just have one bad game. He had more bad than good games to me. Now, the numbers, if you go look at the numbers, the box scores, it'll say, oh, man, it look like he played pretty good. He scored 26 points this game. If you actually watch the series, Tatum was not good more times than not in this series. Play in, play out. Boston could not count on him to make a big shot. Play in, play out. He settled too many times. And for that, I cannot say Tatum played good. I will go as far as to say he played closer to bad than good in this series. Even though he was able to put up some assists, even though he was able to put up some buckets, too many turnovers for me, over 100, and he didn't play well. And more times than not, Boston leaned on Jaylen Brown to be their guy to make a big shot. Now, let's swing over to Steph Curry. What have we learned about Steph, the chef himself? Well, in the past, we said, hey, Steph, you still don't got any finals MVPs on the biggest stages. You frown. He didn't frown this year. Did he play great in every game? No, he had a bad game there. Game 5 was a stinker to me. What was that game? Game 1-ish wasn't good. The first quarter was good, but after that, it wasn't good. Right? The first quarter was great, but after that, it wasn't good. He had a couple stinkers in there. I'm missing a game. Maybe game 3 wasn't the greatest. But Steph Curry, more times than not, in this finals, was great. Those third quarters were great. Steph, for me, has put himself in this rarefied air of wherever he's at on my all-time list, he's over Kevin Durant. So I'll probably put him at around 9 to 11. I got to redo my list because the brother did just win a Finals MVP. He had the All-Star Game MVP. I don't know how much weight you put in that. He had the Western Conference Finals MVP. I don't know how much weight you put on that. I put a little stock in that, by the way. He had the three-point record that he did break this year. I put stock in that, by the way. And, for me, and we'll talk about this more in another video, Steph Curry, though he ain't getting you 10 assists a game as a point guard, the unselfishness in him and the willingness to say, Andrew Wiggins got it tonight. Let's let him rock out. I'm cool with Clay getting 25 shots as long as we win. That's a point guard to me. That's part of being a point guard. Knowing when to pick your spots and knowing when to let your guys have their moment, when it's their time to have their moment. Steph Curry, to me, I would never put him in the realm of the Mikes, the Kobes, the LeBrons, the Kareems, the Magics, for me. Because too many times I've seen him just be a piece of the puzzle versus the reason those guys that I just named, they're the reason. But an interesting conversation is brewing between the Larry Birds of the world, the Wilts of the world, just because of the era that Steph did it in, the Bill Russells of the world, just because of the era of Steph. It's an interesting conversation. I think wherever you have Kevin Durant at on your list, all-time players, I got to put Steph above KD as the best players I've been seeing now. Now, when we're talking careers, Steph might have a top 5, top 6 career all time. Keep in mind, for me, Mike had the greatest career of all time. Kareem had the second greatest career of all time. LeBron got the third greatest career all time. I'm the biggest Kobe fan you'll find. Kobe's like 7 or 8 on the all-time great careers. He has 5 championships, but guys had better careers than Kobe. Better careers. Better players, Kobe's the second best player I've ever seen. Steph's career might be top 5, top 6 all time. When you look at the fact that he's shattering this three-point record, 4 championships, now 1 Finals MVP. I mean, he's starting to really build. And the Warriors look good to come back. So I got Steph somewhere comfortably between 9 and 12. I did not have him right there before this. I had Kevin Durant over him in my top players of all time. But wherever, I don't care, wherever you got, if you got Kevin Durant as number 2, that would mean Steph would be number 1. If you got Kevin Durant as number 30 on your list, Steph would have to be number 29. You got Kevin Durant around 13, 14, that means you got Steph around 11 or 12. That's how I see it, because Steph was able to win with KD, and then he won twice without him. You got to give that man his just due. And he beat the team that Kevin Durant not only lost to in the first round, they couldn't win a game against those Boston Celtics. So I think we've learned something about Jayson Tatum and Steph Curry. Not bad. We just learned something.